Welcome to the Lifestyle Property Podcast. I'm Jamie Greaves, your host and professional property investor. I'm here to bring you insights, home truths and powerful stories about what really goes on in property investment, business and growing your dream lifestyle. Are you ready? Let's get into it. Hello and welcome back to Lifestyle Property, and welcome to episode 3. And today we're talking about your why, okay, and your mission. And it is really important, okay? So we need to have a big reason why to achieve anything big in life, okay? So having a deep, meaningful reason why is huge. It makes us stronger people, stronger investors, stronger family members, and really to grow a lifestyle portfolio, to grow a lifestyle business that allows you to live life on your terms. It's really important to have a strong why that's aligned to your values. And that's exactly what I'll be talking through today with you. Okay, so to kick things off, I've got 2 major concepts to introduce to you. You may know these already, or these may be fresh to you, and I'll try not butcher them. Concept number 1 is Raison d'être. I've pronounced that awfully. That is the French for reason for being. Okay, so what's your reason for being? What's important to you? What's your why? Okay, it's very, very, very important, and this is a topic that we'll be covering. And then another equally brilliant and historic topic is Ikigai. If you've heard of Ikigai before, which is the Japanese for purpose. Okay, so what's our life mission? What's our life's purpose? Okay, and by asking ourselves these kinds of questions, it may seem like a bit of a fluffy start, but this is what allows the dream lifestyle when it's built on these kind of foundations. So to dig a little bit deeper into Ikigai, it asks us 4 questions. Okay, so I'll try not butcher these, but the 4 are: what does the world need? Okay, so something larger than ourselves, i.e., you're helping others. What does the world need? What's something that you love to do? So when you're in flow state, you stop thinking and you enjoy the present moment. For me, this podcast, I'm loving this. What are you good at? What do you enjoy? Okay, and then what can pay you? What can give you an income? And when you align those 4 things up, when you align something where you are helping others and you love doing it and you're good at it and it pays you an income, then you found your Ikigai. You found your purpose. Okay, I didn't find mine straight away. It took me 2 or 3 years into my investment portfolio career before I found mine. Okay, so I'm going to share with you my why, my mission and my Ikigai. Okay, not with a focus on myself, but with a focus on how you can then apply this to your life and get a really clear why, a really clear mission. Because once we have that, it's really hard to stop and it really builds momentum. Okay, and I honestly believe, and I've seen this to be true, having a clear, deep, meaningful, intrinsic why can be the biggest differentiator between those achieving major things and not. So I will break down for you now my key reasons, my key whys, my missions, my raison d'être, for the pronouncement, and really apply this to your world and then to your why, because as I've mentioned, it's really powerful once we do. So I have 2 missions and had 2 missions within property investment, and I've achieved one. Amazingly grateful for that. And then one is what's to come, which is really, really exciting. So my number 1 why, my number 1 reason, like a lot of people, was my family. So it was to help myself and my family live our dream lifestyle. And really this resonated within getting recurring income from assets. And that's the beautiful thing about property investment. That's why I and millions of people love it and aspire to own them and rent them, because we get recurring income. And this is money that rolls in whilst we sleep. And this was huge for me, huge. So to have the ability to free up life, to have time freedom. So we want financial freedom, but we want time freedom as well. And really my values are that they're family, choice, joy, travel, freedom. And it's been hugely advantageous. I'm incredibly grateful. So for those of you who don't yet have a clear why, try and have intrinsic reasons for your motivation, and family and health and lifestyle are perfect because they're what matter in life often. And really, this is why cash flow is the number one goal. So for any of you looking like struggling to make goals, or you've started but you're not getting the success, it's quite common. I'll help clarify, and I'll clarify it more in later episodes for you. But our number one goal has to be cash flow. Okay, before we can start to think about slow assets and building wealth and X, Y, Z, it's got to be cash flow first. And why? Because it's cash flow that gives us time and gives us energy and full and freedom. We've then got time freedom, and you may then want to explore and keep growing, or you may decide to go off into other areas of life, i.e. travel. But it really is where cash flow starts. And just to give you a bit more insight into my why. So the reason that I live in Sheffield, I've got complete global freedom now. I can live and work from anywhere in the world. I've got time freedom. I'm really, really grateful for that. I spent a month in Cape Verde in January 2024 because it was damn right cold in Sheffield and not very sociable, and fitness is big for me, and I couldn't get my steps in. I like walking and got into running this year, but that's a different story. I don't think I'll be into it next year. Quite heavy impact. But in January, I found myself getting a little bit bogged down. It's just with Journey Blue, so I was able to go away for a month, and I love that. And if I didn't love my family so much, I would live on the road 24/7. And properties allow that freedom, and I absolutely love that. So having that deep intrinsic why was a big reason. So I sat in training courses with other people 5 years ago. Okay, learning about property investment, learning about different right and wrong ways of doing it, and you keep in touch with people, and you touch base, and a small number of people have gone on to be successful, and the vast majority haven't. And then you ask what those who have, and often they've got big, deep reasons why. Okay, so have a good think about that, what your why is. Okay, so mine was all around family and time freedom. And now this is the one that I've achieved. And I'm really, really grateful. So I've got enough income coming in from the properties that we own. So my background, I started within rent to SA, then moved into buying holiday lets and SAs and Airbnbs. I'll cover that in more depth in other podcasts, I'm sure. And this has given me the recurring income. I'm really grateful for that. So I can travel and I can treat family. I just got back from a trip to Ireland with family, and I'm really grateful. But the beautiful thing is we don't need to stop there. Okay, and we may well have a bigger mission. And actually, this is now what motivates me. So the reason for doing the podcast, the reason that I'm still actively involved in other businesses involved within property, the reason that I'm a mentor, the reason that I source properties for people, the reason that I can continue now to build projects is a wider mission I've got. Okay, and I'll share that with you now. And if you can have a mission as large as mine, amazing, because those with a big mission can achieve huge things in life. And I'd love it if you could play some smart role to play in my mission. So my mission here now is to help people, okay, who are more vulnerable, who are more deprived. Okay, and it's really because of the personal circumstance that I've seen myself go through. So 3 years ago, my younger brother got very unwell. He's got special needs. He got very unwell. And I was able to drop everything and move back to Sheffield. That's why I still live in Sheffield now, to help him. And as I moved into that world of special needs and mental health, I was overwhelmed with how much help was needed. And there's so many issues out there, isn't there? There's homelessness, mental health, domestic violence. There's a huge, huge number. And I've got a huge mission to help. And I have to say, honestly, in this sphere, there's people out there that are talking nonsense in terms of there's a lot of unethical people going into something like supported living and social housing, and they're doing it for the wrong reasons. They're doing it for the income and the money, and they're not looking after the people. And I never, ever, ever wanted to be that. I want to be part of the solution, not part of the problem. So this is why I've grown what I call a capitalist business, i.e. holiday lets and Airbnb, huge cash flow, good capital growth. Amazing. And now I'm working on my mission. Okay, so now my future profits and my growth is all aimed within helping society. Okay, we're starting off small and really building momentum. And that my mission drives me now. My mission is a reason that we're still growing the portfolio. And as I mentioned, my mission is is having me start this podcast and grow this podcast, because if I can help you, brilliant. I expect nothing back in return. Nothing at all. If I can help you, brilliant. That is part of my Ikigai. That is part of my mission, it's part of me. But I know to achieve huge things, so to make a ripple in society, so to start to help those who really need help, okay, and change lives and help lives, we don't achieve them kind of missions alone. So the bigger the mission, the bigger the team. And my entire business has been built through collaborations. Everything beautiful I've done in property investment and now what's built my lifestyle has been a form of collaboration. So let's see where the podcast goes. Who knows? But it's really exciting. So why have I just shared my whys with you? Why have I just shared my missions with you? Well, it's because it's really important to your success, and it's really important to building a dream lifestyle. There's no good just creating a new job. There's no point doing a strategy because you've heard it's good on TikTok or LinkedIn or Facebook. We want to create our dream lifestyles for us, and it starts with our whys and it starts with our missions. Okay, so it's something to have a good think about are your goals. Okay, now I unfortunately can't mentor all of you, but this is something that we do. So I mentor people who are growing their essay and holiday let portfolio, and it's something that we do early on with it because it's really, really important. So you work on your goals and set clear goals, because it's honestly true. Like, to get what we want in life, we need to firstly know exactly what we want in life and make sure that it's aligned to us. And that's why the podcast is called Lifestyle Property, and I've got a business called Lifestyle Breaks, and it's really so we can cultivate the dream lifestyle for us. And it's all different, it's all nuanced, okay? So you've heard my why and my mission, and have a good think about your why and your mission. And to give you a tip, it's often close to home. It's often in the home you're living in. And really that will drive you on, because I'll be early on. You'll have to learn a lot and grow a lot before then you can achieve huge things. So when you've got a good, deep, intrinsic reason why, it gives you a reason to do that. But if you can cultivate that bigger mission, okay, so you're not all, I've very, very few people will have the same mission as mine or as large a mission as mine, but that's because I've gone through a certain set of life circumstance to allow that. So you don't need to compare yourself to that, but if you can have more an intrinsic mission that's not just about money, but maybe it's about your family, your lifestyle, your future, how you want to live, that's really, really powerful. Okay, and I if the point's been labelled, it's labelled out of its importance. It really is. Okay, so now you know more about me. You know my why, my mission, and apply this to you. So what's your why? What's your mission? What's your raison d'être? So French for what's your reason for being? What's most important to you? And what's your Ikigai going to be? What's your purpose? Okay, so these kind of questions, these kind of cave time, let's slow down, have a good strategic think about things before we then go out, because property can get busy early on. Your viewings, making offers, raising money, applying to everything. And but if we can slow down up front, have some cave time, set a clear plan, clear trajectory, get really strategic and base it on your lifestyle, what's important to you, it's really, really powerful. Okay. So I will break down my Ikigai for you. So just to touch upon that once again. So it's, what does the world need, i.e. be of value, help people. What do you love doing? What are you good at? And then what pays you well? What gives you an income? So mine's really, really clear now. And feel free to copy mine. So my mission, so how I'm going to help the world, is by helping the world's vulnerable. Okay, that's a big mission there. Obviously, it'll be starting out with the UK's vulnerable, but there are people globally. Okay, and what do I love doing? Well, I really enjoy property, and the aspect of property investment that I love is the deal side of it. So going out and finding deals and negotiating deals, I love it. I would do it for breakfast. I do it for free. I do it as a hobby. It's quite hard. Like when I'm traveling now and on holidays, I look at property. I don't mean to. I've just drawn to. Oh, is that for sale? Oh, is that for rent as well? That might be a lease option. Interesting. And when you catch the bug, it's hard. And something that I might cover on a later podcast is focus on the areas that you enjoy the most within property? For anyone that's followed me for any length of time, you might have heard me say that, but it's so true, because I love finding deals and I love the financing aspect of it. It's not work. It's not work. So I love that part of it. So I'm going to continue to do that. And I've become very good at that. I don't mean to be big-headed, but because I blocked out the noise, and I've got many weaknesses. So I don't do refurbs. My JV partners don't allow me to do any refurb projects anymore. I'm not allowed on site. I've knocked down the wrong shed. I've measured up things wrong. I've got flustered when it needed a calm head. I don't have the patience for it. I want everything done yesterday. I'm too tight. I'm northern. I don't like spending money, but I know that we need to for good quality stuff. So I don't do the refurb side of our business now, but that's okay, because I know how to outsource and leverage and teamwork and collaborate and work with world-class people. So I focus on what I'm good at. Okay, so finding that niche in property is really important. Maybe it'll be the management side of it. Maybe you're going to grow a large management part of the portfolio. Maybe you're like me and never want to talk to your tenants or your guests. I've never spoken to a tenant, never spoken to a guest in my life, and never will do, because I've systemized that part of the business and got people in place for that. I focus on deals and finance, and therefore I become very good at applying the right type of finance, i.e. mortgage, bridge, loan, JV, for the right type of project, and doing things very ethically, very sustainably, and it goes well because of that. Okay, we're going off into a few tangents now, but that's the beauty of podcasting. You get raw, authentic, deep insights rather than like a superficial 40-second TikTok video that I can't. I've got an old soul. I can't really go in for that. And then really what am I doing now is I'm using that profit to help people, both directly and indirectly. Okay, so yes, there are certain strategies within property where you could be considered as helping people directly, i.e. social housing or supported living, but I've got to pour a lot of cold water on that bonfire, because there's a lot of people not going out there to help. And just to go down the rabbit hole for a second, the whole system's somewhat broken. My siblings live in supported living, and I know for a fact that supported living normally pops up in the rough parts of town, the worst parts of town. Why is that? Well, it's because supported living or social housing often just pays just above buy-to-let rent, and therefore investors get a better yield when they go into poor parts of town. But it's not breaking the cycle of deprivation. Okay, it's really not. There's still people who are still put in not the best areas of town, and if they're vulnerable, they get taken advantage of. And really, I'm looking to change lives on an intrinsic human level, but that needs capital. It simply needs capital. So I am still growing the business, and I'm still growing cash flow, and I've got trading businesses as well, because there's a bigger societal need. Essentially, if I share a story into my world, when my brother fell ill 3 years ago, and because he had a special needs with a mental health problem, it was really almost nigh impossible to get him any help. So I dropped all work for 6 weeks, and I could do that because I run my own business within property. I've got great JV business partners now. I couldn't do that if I was still working. That would have been really tough. I don't think I'd have been able to cope, quite honestly. But it took a huge amount of work to get him, to find him the right level of help, because obviously these are niche topics and they're very oversubscribed. There is so much demand for things like special needs or mental health support, but it's a huge lack of supply. We don't have the funding for it. And it dawned on me that at that point I didn't know my Ikigai. I was searching for it. Property felt a little bit hollow for me. I was making good money and I was enjoying it, but it wasn't satisfying my kind of emotional, spiritual, kind of deeper needs, really. And then it dawned on me. I took my brother on a week's holiday to one of my holiday lets up in the Lake District, and it helped him massively. Just fresh air, fish and chips, projector, hot tub, time in nature. It really helped him. So, I think I've caught onto something here. And then speaking to the nurses and then eventual psychologists who have helped him amazingly, they've just said how underfunded they are. And a lot of them have had to leave the NHS to earn a basic level of living. And I realised there and then that we can't rely upon the government, when we can't rely upon the taxpayer, we can't rely upon employees to make a big change in humans' lives. but I can make a change. And we together can make a change. And we as a human collective can. I know I'm going quite deep there, but it's really true. So that's my Ikigai. That's my purpose. That's my mission. So I'm gonna help people, both quote unquote normal people. I mean, just good people. We tend to attract people who are like us in life, and so I've worked with a lot of people in the past 5.5 years in property. So I've got accountants and brokers and solicitors, but I've worked with people on a loan basis and joint ventures and mentees and mentors. And they all tend to be my kind of people, and I'm their kind of people. So we're drawn to people who are like us. So I absolutely will continue to help people like that. But I also want to help people who can't help themselves. And it's, if my brother didn't have me fighting for him in that moment, his nurses and psychologists and our support workers where he lived said he'd have been homeless and likely something very bad was happening because he was running away, he was sleeping rough. It was not a very pretty thing to go through. But because he had an advocate, i.e. myself, who could drop everything and fight for him to get him help, he got help. And that's just not quite fair, is it? Because we don't all have that advocate. We don't all have that person who can drop everything, who had the fight and the grit and also the ability to not work for a while to do that. So that's my mission. Okay, yeah. So it's to continue to fuel my lifestyle and allow me to treat my family. The reason that I moved back to Sheffield is to be around family. But I've got the fortunate position now to be able to take holidays when I want, where I want, which is amazing. But now it's to do more good in life and just help others and not just grow for greed, but grow to help. So that's where future profit, proceeds and profit is to go. And if in future years, if this podcast plays a part to Ikigai, amazing. That's all. I've got no set goal for this podcast other than to help people. Okay, so help people just like you. So as the episodes evolve, that's the only mission, and I'm really, really excited for that. And now you know why, because it feeds my Ikigai. It feeds my reason for being. I'll say it one last time. Raison d'être. Apologies. I was never very good at languages. I actually got booted out of languages at school for not paying attention. But that's, again, we don't need to go there. Yes, now you know my why. And so make clear your why. Make clear your mission. Okay, work on your goals. Ideally, work on your goals on an annual basis. Okay, there is a right and wrong way of doing that. And most people in property go wrong. I'm not talking about smart and what we learn in schools, but there's a fundamental flaw in goal setting within property investment. And I think it cripples a lot of people. So I will see if I can cover that in a future podcast. But yeah, it's something that takes a bit of a deep dive because it is a personal thing, you see, and that's why I go through with our mentees, because some people do it wrong one way, some people do it wrong the other way. We need to get to know that. In terms of my own world, I set goals that were far too ambitious in a short space of time, whereas we can achieve an amazing amount of things over, say, a 2-3 year basis. We overestimate what we can achieve in a year, and we underestimate what we can achieve in 5 years. And that was me. I overestimated, I'll earn 10 grand a month within a year. I'll have this, I'll have that. I'll buy 20 properties. Nope, didn't happen. But I underestimated what I'd achieve in 5 years. Okay, so that happened to me. People do it different ways, and we have different flaws and different kind of limiting beliefs in the background. But that was mine. I was overly ambitious in the short term, but I had limiting beliefs for the long term. So I've flipped that around now. Seriously, now you know more about your host, more about me and my why. But this is about you. This podcast is about you. So apply the lessons that I've gone through today and the techniques and the exercises for you. Okay, and get a clear why, have a clear mission, know your Ikigai and your Raison d'être, push it again. And I promise you this, if you do that, you'll build a far better property portfolio, you'll have a far better lifestyle, you'll live on life on your terms to your highest values, and it's a beautiful place to get to. It really is. Okay, so next week, and I can say that now because I'm going to release the first 2 episodes immediately to get us going, and then next week it'll be episode 4, where I'm going to give a deep dive into property. So why did I choose property as my investment class? There's other ways to get residual income in while we sleep, stocks, shares, Bitcoin. But there's some things we need to know about property, and it will give all of us either reminders or key lessons about the right and wrong way of doing property investment. So that is next week. I'm really excited for it. I will see you there, and take care. Thank you for listening to the Lifestyle Property Podcast. If you've enjoyed this episode, I'd love it if you could leave us a review so we can reach and help more people. I'll also be giving one person who leaves a review a free family holiday to one of our luxury holiday lets. Thank you, and see you next time.